Joining me now is Horace Cooper, Project 21 co-chairman, and Allie Beth Stuckey, host of the Relatable podcast. Allie Beth, I'll start with you. You recently had a baby and you live in Texas. What's your reaction to this insane rambling from the left?
Yeah, well, Joe Biden, obviously, he doesn't really know what the law says. That's why he kind of trailed off as he does when he's, for example, trying to quote the Declaration of Independence. The guy doesn't really know what he's talking about. But as far as what CNN is trying to propose, what continually strikes me about all of this is just the rabid passion that some people on the left show toward the elimination of babies. We talk so much about the importance of women's rights. Well, another person's rights are at play here. And I guess Joe Biden, the, quote, devout Catholic, has forgotten that. And I think a lot of people who claim to be fighters of social justice and claim to be advocates of compassion on the left have forgotten that too.
So, Horace, this week when White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki was asked about this issue, she essentially made the argument that if you're a man who is pro-life, you have no say and you shouldn't have any opinion when it comes to abortion. But the left is totally fine with promoting men who are all for it.
Well, I think it was just the FDA administrator who was explaining that we have to refer to birthing people instead of mothers. But let's put aside the hostage note reading that we just saw from President Biden. The key TAM concept, the idea of allowing the citizen to be on the lookout to make sure that significant concerns of the community are being met, is a long time legal concept. In fact, you can go back to the Lincoln administration and you can see this concept where people were encouraged to go into court and they got a bounty if they identified fraudulent behavior that was hurting our Civil War effort. We continue on today with this same concept. Far from being un-American, it is central to our operation for good federal government resources altogether.
So, Allie, whenever the topic of abortion and protecting the rights of unborn children comes up, the left portrays the right as extremist. But if you look at the data, the reality is that women are leading the pro-life movement, and the majority of women do agree with some restrictions on abortion, and yet the left makes it out to seem like all women agree with their perspective of unlimited abortion up until the day of birth, and in the case of the Virginia governor, maybe the day after birth as well.
Right. And that's exactly what's extreme. It's not extreme to say that all innocent human beings have a right not to be murdered. What is very extremist is saying that some human beings, based on their size, their development, their location in the womb, for some reason, don't have that right, that they don't have the most fundamental right to life. That is extremely extreme. That is radical. And I think what pro-lifers have to do is always bring it back to the life of the baby and the reality, the grotesque reality of what abortion actually is and does.
Yeah, so Horace, real quickly, Joe Biden ran as a moderate. He used to not believe in taxpayers funding abortion. He now doesn't believe in the Hyde Amendment. He also changed his perspective this week and says he doesn't believe that life begins at conception, which is opposite of what we've been told for decades by Joe Biden. So it's not only just an issue of him not knowing the law in Texas, but it's an issue of him lying to the American people about what his perspective was.
He doesn't know the law in Texas. He doesn't understand how the Supreme Court works and how these kinds of cases occur. But more fundamentally, he and others in his administration and on his team don't believe in the fundamental principle of self-government. You persuade people. There is a reason why so many places all across this land are fighting to protect unborn innocent life, because people are being persuaded. It is not the case that this is being imposed by the state legislatures. It is the case that people care about this issue and they ask their representatives, and the other side, instead of doing any pushback. They have no arguments. They have nothing but condemnation. That doesn't work with self-government.
All right, the debate continues. Horace and Allie Beth, thank you very much.